One day in the upper hamlet of Plum village, I happened to see a young lady walking alone. And I had the feeling that she is not a human being. She was like a ghost. I knew right away that she was one of the hungry ghosts of our society, coming from a broken family, coming from a society that does not recognize you, that has made you suffer, coming from a tradition that is not capable of nourishing you, communicate to you. And in the past 12 years, I have met several hungry ghosts like that. They are without any root. They don't believe in their family. They get angry at their parents. They get angry at their society. They get angry at their tradition. They want to leave everything behind and go around looking for something to belong to, looking for something beautiful, something good, something true to believe in. Many of them have come to practice centers like Plum Village. It's very difficult to help these people. They have no roots. It's very difficult for them to absorb the teaching because they don't trust easily. You have to do your best in order to earn the trust before you can help. Our society is organized in such a way that we produce tens of thousands of hungry ghosts every day. They have not received love from their parents, their society, their tradition. Nobody has understood them. That is why they are very hungry of love and understanding. And they are looking for something to believe in. And hungry ghosts, even if they have a big belly like this, they have a very tiny throat. As small as a needle, it is described in the sacred text. Hungry ghosts have a throat that is as small as a needle. So even if you have a lot to offer, it's very difficult for them to absorb. Even if you have plenty of food, plenty of water, plenty of love to offer, it's difficult for them to absorb because nobody has understood them, nobody has loved them. They suspect everything, they suspect everyone. We have helped a certain number of hungry ghosts like that. We know that it is difficult. We know that we need each other in order to help. We have to reorganize our society in such a way that we stop producing more hungry ghosts. This is very important. And we should practice looking deeply in order to be able to understand these hungry ghosts and not to continue to blame them because they have not received any understanding and therefore any love. Each person, in order to be happy and stable, should have at least two families. The first is the blood family. in which father and mother represent the youngest generation of ancestors. If your parents are happy with each other, they'll be able to transmit to you the values of your ancestors, the love and trust that are in them in form of seeds. And you have roots in your blood family. If you are in good terms with your parents, you are connected with your ancestors through your parents. But if you are not in good terms with your parents, you get disconnected with all your ancestors. You become a person without roots. And you can become very easily a hungry ghost. The other family is the spiritual family. You also have ancestors. And if the people who represent your tradition are not happy enough, if they have not been lucky enough in order to receive the jewels of your tradition, they would not be able to transmit them to you. They could not be able to understand you and your needs. They could impose on you things you don't like. Communication between them and you is not possible. You suffer and you want to get away from your own tradition. And if you are in bad terms with your rabbi, with your pastor, with your priest, you get disconnected with your spiritual ancestors. And you become a hungry ghost. And having so much suffering within yourself, you make the person you love suffer. And if you have children, you make them suffer also. And they too will become hungry ghosts. That is why it's so important to practice looking deeply, to find out what is wrong with our families, what is wrong within our blood family, what is wrong within our spiritual family. The practice of mindful looking may be very helpful in order for you to understand your parents and the people who represent your tradition. If your parents cannot embody the values of your ancestors, if your priest, your rabbi, your pastor cannot embody the values of your tradition, there must be causes. We have to look deeply. And when we are capable of looking deeply, the insight will come, and that will help us to accept, to have compassion, and going back home to help them, to help our parents, to help our rabbi, our priest, our pastor will become possible. There is a young American who came to Plum Village and told me that he was so angry at his father, to the point that even after his father's passing away, he still could not reconcile with him. And I helped him by the teaching of the emptiness of transmission. Emptiness of transmission is a way of looking deeply in order to recognize that you are one with your parents. You are only a continuation of your parents. Getting angry at your parents is to get angry at yourself. When we talk about transmission, we talk about the one who transmits We talk about the object transmitted, and we talk about the receiver of the transmission, three things. When you have a chance to take a shower, when you take a shower, you have a chance to look at your body as the object of transmission. And you think of your parents as the transmitters, your body, your consciousness as the object transmitted, and you are the receiver of the transmission. But looking deeply, we see that three of them are empty, of a separate self. The question we ask is, what did your parents transmit? And if you practice looking deeply, you see that your parents transmitted themselves to you. Your body and all the seeds that you carry within your consciousness are your parents. They did not transmit anything less than themselves. All the seeds of suffering, all seeds of happiness and talent, they received from their ancestors. They have transmitted everything to you. So the transmitters and the transmitted are one, and you are also one with the object transmitted. So you cannot escape the fact that you are only the continuation of your father. You are your father. And to reconcile with your father is to reconcile with yourself. There is no other way. That young man, he put a picture of his father on his desk and with a little lamp. Every time he get close to his desk, he would look in the eyes of his father and practice breathing in and out. And to touch the fact that he is his father. He is only a continuation of his father. And he realized the fact that his father was not capable of transmitting to him the seed of love and trust that lie deep in his consciousness, because he did not have the capacity to do so. He was not helped by anyone to touch these seeds in order to get nourished back. And of course, the seed of trust and love in him was covered up by so many layers of suffering. And when you have become aware of that, you can forgive, you can understand. There is a wonderful guided meditation on the 5-year-old boy that we used to offer to hungry ghosts who come to Plum Village. Breathing in, I see myself as a 5-year-old boy or girl. Breathing out, I smile to that 5-year-old boy or girl who is me. And that you practice for 1 or 2 weeks. A 5-year-old boy or girl is always very vulnerable, very fragile. A stern look may already hurt him or her. A shout may already hurt him or her. That is why we are very fragile when we are 5. And if you see yourself as a 5-year-old boy like that, and if you breathe out and smile to you, that smile will be the smile of compassion, understanding. If I suffer because as a 5-year-old boy, I was deeply wounded. And 2 weeks later, he gave him the other half of the practice. Breathing in, I see my father as a 5-year-old boy. Breathing out, I smile to the 5-year-old boy that was my father. Maybe you have not imagined that your father could be a 5-year-old boy, but he was a 5-year-old boy. He had been a 5-year-old boy. And if you are capable of breathing in and seeing your father as a 5-year-old boy, you would see that he is also fragile, vulnerable, easily to get hurt. And he may be like you, the victim of his grandpa, of your grandpa. And practice like that. Smile into that 5-year-old boy with compassion. One day you will understand that your father is also a victim. That is why he was not capable of nourishing himself with the seed of love and trust. And if you don't practice, that seed of love and trust in you will remain very small. And tomorrow when you have a child, you will do exactly like your father. The wheel of samsara. And many have profited from that exercise. They have gone back to help their own parents. And through their parents, they get connected again with their ancestors. And the same practice can be directed to your tradition, your spiritual family. If you understand, by the practice of mindfulness, you might discover that there are values in your own tradition. I always tell my students that the equivalent of mindfulness could be seen in the tradition of Judaism and Christianity. And when you have practiced mindfulness in a Buddhist center, you may discover that these jewels are also in your tradition, and you are urged to go back in order to help out, to rediscover these values for your own nourishment and the nourishment of your children. Because a person without roots cannot be a happy person. Getting back and touch our roots and rediscover the positive seeds, the jewels within our tradition, blood or spiritual, is a very important practice. And the practice of mindfulness can help